It's time to fade out the Simon and Garfunkel and fade in the City Spotlight Show. This is your news director, Perry Smith. We're here to talk about all things Santa Clarita for the City Spotlight Show this week. We do it the third Friday of every month, and we're here at your hometown station. I'm in the studio with Kevin Tenoyan of the Landscape Maintenance District, and we're also going to have Bob Keller as a guest on a little bit later, talking about the Vietnam Memorial Wall. And first off, Kevin, I was wondering if you could kind of introduce yourself to our listeners and talk a little bit about what you do for the city of Santa Clarita and how you kind of make the area a little bit nicer.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thanks for having me this morning. Again, my name is Kevin Tenoyan, and I'm the Administrative Services Manager for the city. And I am responsible for, among other things, the management of our landscape maintenance districts. The city maintains 60 independent LMD zones. We refer to them as LMD zones, and these are the operations that really allow us to live in such a absolutely beautiful city.
Now, if you didn't know, if you're in a landscape maintenance district zone, there's a fee associated with that. But how would you define them? How would you kind of characterize that? I know there's ways to find out if you're in one, but how does the city determine its landscape maintenance district zones?
Well, these are created most often at the time that a particular development is approved, and as property owners, homeowners move in, these are funded through assessments that they're responsible the same way if you move into an area that has a homeowners association.
Okay. Now, do the residents of the area say, if you're not in a landscape maintenance district zone, do you say, hey, we want to, or is that something the city kind of evaluates, and where does that process come in?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's really a mix. In some instances, we are approached by property owners who have an interest in considering or looking into how to create a landscape maintenance zone. And in other instances, we'll go out to the community. I can tell you right now that one of the City Council's priorities for 2013 is to take a look at opportunities to do beautification along the Whites Canyon corridor, and that's something that our staff has been working on very aggressively, and we're taking a very different approach to that. We're going out and what I'd like to call having micro meetings with the community. We're literally identifying people who live along that corridor. We're contacting them, and we're asking if they'd like to have us out to their home or to Todd Longshore Park to meet with them and some of their friends and neighbors to talk about the concept of landscaping and what they would like to see out there.
So it's kind of an interactive process.
Oh, absolutely.
The city gets feedback from the residents, and you guys literally go neighborhood by neighborhood throughout essentially, I know you have to pick certain spots and say everybody from these neighborhoods come here, and then you guys get together and discuss it.
Yeah, when you set up a landscape maintenance area, you do it in a way where you have to determine which homes would benefit from those improvements, and based upon that benefit, that special benefit, those are the homeowners that would ultimately, through a ballot process, determine whether or not they wanted to create a landscape maintenance zone.
So when you're talking about the Whites Canyon corridor, White Canyon becomes Plum Canyon at a certain part. Are you talking about that whole distance from Soledad down to where White Canyon stops at, I think, Bouquet? Or tell me, when do you say the White Canyon's corridor?
Basically, we're talking about right now from Whites and Soledad to the top of Whites Canyon at the city boundary.
Oh, okay. And so what type of, what stage is that process at?
Right now it's in I'd call it in a grassroots state. We're going out and we're meeting with homeowners, 3, 4, 5, 10 at a time. We have a page on our website, Santa-Clarita.com/Whites Canyon. And as we get comments back from people in terms of what they're looking for, we add those comments to the website. As we get questions, we take those questions and we put together a Q&A that's also available on the website. So, anyone in the community can go to that page and see exactly what their neighbors are interested in, what they want to see, and what questions they have.
So has this area already been established as a landscape, or is that the process?
That's the
when you say
process.
the grassroots, like, okay, so Whites Canyon is going to decide if it wants to work with the city on this.
Yeah, that's correct. The homeowners in that particular area, the community, would ultimately need to go through a ballot process to decide whether or not they want to pay an assessment to maintain those landscape improvements.
And we'll talk a little bit about the bigger picture and that assessment and the size of the district when we get back from the break. We're just going to take a quick commercial break. This is the City Spotlight Show with your host, Perry Smith, in the studio with Kevin Tenoyan from the City of Santa Clarita, and on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.